Good morning, folks. How's everybody? It seems like it was just yesterday that we were here, last Sunday. Man, the weeks are passing quickly. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. Let's see what's happening here. I think you can hear me okay, hopefully. Can you hear the guitar? Just want to make sure the levels are good. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. If it is, please let me know and I'll adjust. Good to see everybody today. I was just getting some stuff set up over here, and I'm playing through another device this morning. In the past, I often switch my devices and try new things, and today I'm trying this little guy here, Legato ME1, which is a multi-effects unit, a little budget multi-effects unit, but it sounds pretty good. I'm going to be doing a review on it for you guys. And I was just playing around. Trying to get some sounds out of it. Sounds okay to me. How does it sound on your end? Today I'm playing my SG. Let me just turn the volume down because the noise gate is going to kick in. Playing the SG today. I didn't see any guesses this morning. I forgot to remind you guys to guess which kind of guitar I'd be playing, but today it's the SG. I haven't picked up this guitar in a couple of weeks, actually. I missed it, so I decided to bring it out today and play a little bit. Still sounds great. I'm still glad, so glad that I picked it up. Sometimes it takes a while for you to come to your senses. So good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. As you know, the Addicted to Gear channel is all about gear, our obsession, I would say, our illness. And the folks that normally join in on the fun on Sundays are probably just as addicted as I am. So I'm not the only one I see, because you guys are tuning in regularly, and I appreciate that. Today I was looking, and I think Gene Kelly was number one in terms of the top fans. I believe it was Gene. That may have changed, but today, according to my information here, seems like Gene was, maybe he got knocked out of number one spot. He originally was number one. All right, let me just check this out. Okay, yeah. Gene was number one, then he dropped to number three. Hey, Paul's number one today. And Gene's number three. Okay, well, it was close. It was close. Diamaski 71 was number two. Interesting. I find these stats interesting, just to see what's going on your end there. Yeah, it keeps changing, Vinny. I think it's a question of interaction. Those that interact the most rank higher. Vox says I need Angus horns. I don't have any, but maybe I should get some. Yeah. Would a Viking helmet do? Is that close enough? I don't have one of those either. Gene. You're so kind. Gene says you're always number one with us. I appreciate that, Gene. And today I didn't forget my water, even though I almost spilled some here. I didn't forget my water today. Last week I didn't have any water. So cheers, guys. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to try and squeeze in as much as I can in about an hour. Okay, guys? Because last week we went almost 2 hours, which was fun. I don't mind doing that every once in a while, but I know you guys have lives, so we're gonna try and keep it short and sweet, about an hour or so. So we got a heck of a lot to talk about. So what have you guys been up to this week? I want to start off by asking you that question, so that I don't hog the airways and then just talk about the stuff that I want to talk about. I'd rather hear a little bit from you guys, see if you have any questions, any updates. I believe there were some comments before I actually started the show. So I'm going to just scroll back real quick. And yeah, I would appreciate thumbs up, guys, if you don't mind. Always better to be able to see what's going on in terms of interactions. Paul says he got an Eno EX EQ7 this week. The Steve Stevens 7-band mini EQ, $40, coming this week. I'm not that familiar with that model, Paul, but correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that like kind of a lo-fi EQ pedal? I'm not that up to speed on all of the the overseas models, but I believe that Steve Stevens at one point got together with J Rocket Audio Designs, and he came out with the Rockaway, which I would love to get my hands on. And that one was basically, I think it was a 5-band EQ with 2 additional knobs for more flexibility. So you had more of a sweep going on. I thought that was a great idea, but it's $325. A little expensive. Now, if somebody would come out with a knockoff of that one, I'd be all over it if it was good. But as far as the EQ7 that you're talking about, I don't know much about it. I would have to do some research. Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm going to just see who's here. Let's see. We have Presley. We have Cushman. We have Gene. We have Paul. We have... And I'm just reading the comments at the same time. So Gene says, I have to restring 3 guitars today, so I'll break out the lemon oil and lighter fluid to clean and condition some fretboards. Always a good opportunity to do that at the same time. Give your guitars a little spa day. When the strings are off, that's perfect. Just polish those frets, hydrate the fretboard, do what you can, keep the guitars happy. And it's also like relaxing. To me, it's like a Zen moment where I don't think about anything else and I just enjoy the moment with the guitars. Gene also says, my compensated brass saddles for a Telecaster build have arrived. Lord Bezos has delivered. Wish it was by drone. Did you buy any specific brand, Gene? Are these just generic compensated brass saddles? I think you're going to like them. I switched almost all of my Telecasters to the brass compensated saddles. And the last one that I did, I had the new ones that I reviewed. I don't remember when that was actually. How many weeks was that? I don't even remember. Time flies, man. It flies so fast. And I came out with that video how many weeks ago now? Just trying to see here. Too many videos, guys. That's the problem. That was, yeah, that was already 2 months ago. Wow, time flies. Yeah, so I did a review on the Groove Master. They're compensated saddles. They're also made of brass, but they have the grooves in them. So they go one step beyond just being compensated. They keep the strings in place. So if any of you are doing or thinking about doing the same thing, then check them out, man. They're great. I love them. All right. So if you guys have any questions that are intended for me, please put a question mark in front of your question so I see it right away as I'm scrolling. And yeah, we'll start answering some questions and talking about some cool stuff. Get the show started. So this week, we've been busy. On my end, I've been doing quite a few new reviews, so those should be trickling out soon. As I mentioned, the Legato that I'm playing through today, this little guy, is pretty sweet, I gotta say. Very inexpensive multi-effects unit, sounds pretty good once you dial it in properly. Has some nice features and functions. It's not without its own quirks, but honestly, for the money, man, it makes a great tool. So I'll talk about that in my upcoming video. Hopefully it'll come out this week. Paul says Steve Stevens is out on the road with Billy Idol using it. He said better than is MXR and Boss. He got 2 for both his small and big board. So I'm gonna have to look into that, Paul. I haven't read any reviews on it. Shane is here. Hey Shane, how's it going? Any thoughts on Jazz Masters? Personally, I don't like the shape, but a lot of people do like those guitars. I don't know if they came out with any new modern takes on those guitars. I think they're always reinventing the wheel over at Fender. Excuse me. But personally, I'm not a big fan of the shape on those guitars. I'm not a big fan of the actual bridge. But a lot of people love them. If you like that floating bridge, you know, that anchored tailpiece type of design, and then maybe it's for you. The pickups also on the Jazzmaster are interesting because they're not your traditional Fender pickups, right? They're still single coils, but they're more like P90s. So for me, it's just the shape. Are you thinking about getting one? Is that the deal? So you never owned one before, so you're trying it out? Oh man, there's a first time for everything. You might like it. I thought you were more into the ESP type guitars, and I didn't know you were more of a traditional guitar type guy. But hey, there's a first time for everything, man. Vox, yeah. I think it is show 267, I believe. I might have dropped a couple of numbers along the way by accident. Who's keeping track, right? But it should be around there, yeah. So who's having a birthday this Sunday? Anybody? Or maybe instead of this Sunday, maybe this month. Any birthdays happening in September? Favorite time of the year for me, September, October. It's great. Temperature's better. No scorching heat, no humidity. The days are very enjoyable, a little cool in the morning. You're able to sleep nice at night. But of course, it's just a reminder that winter's just around the corner. So that's a whole other story. But we won't talk about that right now. Yeah, the price was right, Shane. So yeah, you never know, man. Just grab one, try it out. You can always flip it. No big deal. There's a lot of people that are interested in those guitars for sure. John says he has one with P90s and a Les Paul type bridge and tailpiece. So it's not a true Jazzmaster. So Shane says Dave Mustaine has a birthday. All right, so we'll wish Dave a happy birthday. How old is he? Do you know how old he is? I'm losing track on ages of rock stars because they're getting up there. So today we have quite a nice lineup, I think. There's a few gear drops that I'd like to talk about, some artist news as well, some controversies, legend stories as well, you know, some tech, all that good stuff. And I'll be tossing some questions your way along with the poll question. Don't forget that there is a poll this week. I didn't forget. So please answer it if you can. We'll look at that as well. And yeah, we'll share some interesting topics for sure. He's only 62, Shane. I thought he was older than that. Okay. 62. Yeah, that's good age. You can still keep going at 62. if he's got to reach the benchmark set by guys like Keith Richards and all those old guys and the Who and all the old timers, he's got a long way to go. But it's funny because you start seeing these rockers trying to do it at their age and still thinking they're teenagers, but they're not. I heard this week that, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. It could be a rumor. Today you don't know what's true anymore on the internet. But I heard that there was an article that was put out regarding Motley Crue, and they said that Vince Neil had suffered some kind of a stroke or something like that, and he had to do rehabilitation therapy. He had to learn how to walk again. I don't know if that explains his poor singing over the last little while, if he was struggling with it or not. But that's what I heard. I don't know if you heard the same. I'm just passing that information along in case you're a Motley Crue fan. Okay, so let's talk about some interesting new things. I actually took a look recently at Solo King guitars. You guys know this brand? It was off my radar, but it's got my curiosity now. Solo King guitars, they make kind of knockoff guitars, I'm gonna say. They're overseas, not that expensive. They have a couple of interesting models. They have the MS1, which it's a custom type build. It's been getting some interesting reviews. It's got a roasted maple neck, stainless steel frets, locking tuners, HSS pickup layout. So on paper, it looks like a really nice boutique super strat, but the cool thing is it's pretty cheap. Budget price. So spec-wise, it seems impressive. But of course, we all know with these overseas guitars, sometimes they look better on paper than what we get in real life. And quality control can be a little bit hit and miss with these guitars, with these import models. I'm wondering if any of you actually own one of these guitars, have tried one of them. But I like the look of them. I would like to maybe grab one. Music and Gear says, is Solo King going to stay alive after their main company is going bye-bye? We don't know. I don't know. But maybe they're liquidating. Maybe it's a good time to grab a decent guitar for not too much money. The one that I saw, listed, looked a lot like my Sir guitar. And the mind-blowing part, it was only about $400. You know what I mean? So 400 as compared to 4,000, big difference. But I don't know where you would, I guess you would have to order directly from their website. Nice features though. Fox says, for some reason I thought Firefly guitars should glow in the dark. They should play on that. That would be a good thing, right? If I was the company, I would definitely use that as a marketing gimmick. Have something that lights up on it. Maybe a knob, a switch, something. I agree with you, man. That would be cool. Vinny's World says they're decent if you like the pecs. And I believe, is that pecs or specs? Vinny said he tried a couple. I believe they're probably gonna feel similar to the ERT guitars because the specs are kind of similar. ERT guitars are kind of like in the same ballpark with the stainless steel frets and whatnot. And I would say they're probably between an ERT guitar, Harley Benton, and perhaps the New Donners, somewhere around there. But they do have a nice like contoured heel and roasted maple neck. They're trying to look, high end. So Gene said Amazon's Camazon had a Solo King. Probably they may have, but I think Gene, I think that those are only in the States. If you buy off Amazon.ca, they don't always have a big selection of like these type of guitars. Vox says, Scar My Guitars channel loves those Leo James guitars. They always seem to need some fret leveling though, but that's not unusual. Most guitars do. Gene says, I watched the Glary factory video and they make about 6 to 10 different brand guitars. Which brands do you know? So yeah, I'm curious about these ones. I might check one out eventually. Wouldn't hurt. Hey Rich, what's happening? Thanks for joining us. So also on my radar, there's the Walrus Audio Canvas Power USB, which is interesting to me as well. I don't know if anybody cares about this product. But basically, it's called the Audio Canvas Power USB. It's a small USB powered. It's basically a pedal board power supply. 500 milliamp per outlet, but it's small. It has a clean design. It's very compact, and it looks perfect for things like traveling, rigs or minimal setups. I'm always trying to get my rig set up a little smaller, just to like be lighter and more easy to move. And it's all about portability with this unit. But basically it's a USB power. That's its claim to fame. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not convinced if this is maybe just like a niche solution and it's not as practical. But basically, you can power your rig off a USB-C cable or rechargeable battery pack. This is what they're trying to say. So it's just an easier way to have like portable power. They basically took what some companies are doing with these power supplies with built-in batteries. They've basically taken that, made it smaller. It's probably the size of a deck of cards. They've taken the battery out. So basically, you would need a battery pack or a USB to go into this thing and then power your pedals. They just made it smaller. I'm not sure on the price on it though. I believe it's about $179. So yeah, taxes in, probably about $200. Not the cheapest thing. It says 500 milliamps at 9 volts Vox. 500 milliamps, yeah. Apparently it weighs only 136 grams, so it's very small. Interesting little device if ever you're looking at something that will make it easy to carry and easy to transport. Most of these devices are getting so small, man. Look at this thing. This you could almost put in your pocket. Tiny little unit. This also has a built-in battery, by the way. But yeah, everything's getting so small. It's like we're getting less shrinkflation. We're getting less for not less money, but they are packing more features into it. So that's good. It's like the Teslas, You get a car that has nothing in it except the screen. So you're getting less, but they're charging you more. Got to get used to that. I think I'm already getting used to it because everywhere I turn, I get raped in terms of like pricing. So yeah, welcome to the future, guys. Zach says, from this time I was little when I started playing guitar. I usually take my acoustic when I go away on a trip. Dave says he also saw Oasis last weekend. That was fun. You enjoyed it? How was the turnout in terms of crowd, David? A lot of people, I imagine. My pleasure, Vox. That's what I'm here for, man. Does the multi-effect support MIDI? Are you talking about the little one here? This little Liccato? No, it doesn't. Not that I know of. Dave says, my 2015 Jackson Soloist was made in Indonesia, just like my 2016, but the 2015 is worlds better. It's funny, Dave, you bring that up because I noticed the same thing with certain guitars. I don't usually buy multiple guitars. Who am I kidding? Yes, I do. Um, but I don't usually, I haven't had the opportunity, let me put it that way, to pick up a couple of similar guitars or same guitars that were made in different factories. But I did notice that with the Kramer Beretta specials that I have, because I do have two and they're not made in the same place. I have a black one and I have kind of a salmon color one that I wrapped. It's the one you see in the thumbnail for this week's show. They're not the same in terms of quality. The black one feels much better than the salmon one. Although it's the same, same specs, but different factory. Dave said there was about 90,000 people. Not too bad as a turnout. Wow. So they're still drawing them in. Interesting. NFM says, hi, Tony. I was surprised. I was surprised. So try that one again. I was surprised to hear Phil McKnight, Know Your Gear, say this week that most people cannot hear whether a guitar has intonation issues. I think I can. What do you think? Absolutely, you can hear it. You can definitely hear it, man. All you have to do is just strum a chord. You will hear it, man. If you don't hear it, maybe you're not clear on what to look out for. But you hear it in the overtones. They become very weird. It doesn't ring out nice. Like if you do, like even if you just pull out a chord, like, let me pull up the volume. My guitar is out of tune now, but definitely out of tune. Okay, so I can't use that as an example. But if your guitar is in tune and you just strum an open chord, you will hear the overtones. They're going to be all over the place. So yeah, if you don't hear it, maybe you need to get your hearing checked. Let me just tune up my guitar here. Let me do the mute mode so I don't... Okay, let me see. Yeah, that one was off. It's always the G string on these Gibsons. I wonder if they did it on purpose. G for Gibson. Those darn G strings. They tend to go out of whack real fast. Okay, let's get out of the tuning here. That's one thing I didn't really like about the Liccato is the tuner. It's very, very basic. Not very good in terms of tuning capabilities. I'm going to say you might want to go with a different tuner. And of course, all of my tuners are always dead. These new tuners that have the built-in batteries, they don't last that long. And although they're decent, you can't do much with them. Anyway. All right. I don't think they do harmonics right if they're not intonated. That is true. Davis, what's happening? What? You had a heart attack, dude? Holy mackerel. When did this happen? Sorry to hear that, buddy. Hope you're okay, man. It's scary, dude. That's scary. Are you you're feeling okay now? Everything's taken care of? Dude, you got to take care of your health, man. We're all getting to that age where it could happen to any of us, and we don't even expect it. Glad to see you here, dude. Let's wish Davis, health and no heart attacks in the future, Dave. Don't scare us like that, man. Alex2112 says, good morning, Tony. Love the SG. Have one just like it. I love it too, man. I love it. It took me a while to actually find the one, but this is it. This is the one. I think this is one of the more fun instruments that I have to play right now. It's less of a struggle to play this than a Les Paul, just because it's so narrow, and the neck on this guitar is really, really slim. It's a lot like my 335, which I also love a lot. So it's very different feel than some of my other guitars. But it plays great, and I love the sound and the pickups and everything. Having a lot of fun with it. Hey, Steven, what's going on? Steven says, good morning, guys. Just in from a AM bicycle ride. Hope everyone's having a great day. So far, so good. Dave says, let's make copies of 30-year-old guitars. Charge you double their value because that stays true to sharpen your axe mentality. We'll talk about that a little bit, Dave. I know where you're going. I know where you're going with that, man. Just let me scroll down here. Good morning, Rico. Steven says he's got an SG kit. Haven't had a chance to get started on it yet, but will be red. An SG's got to be red. Also, I like red. I like Phelan blue. And I also like the, what do they call it? Silver mist. I like that too. Those are nice colors. All right, guys, we have 51 people here today, 25 thumbs up. Just a reminder, if you don't mind, give us a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. So Vox says, I saw an interview with Angus one time. He said that his SG is a piece of shit, but he plays them because they're weight in his back. Yeah, I heard him say, I did not hear him say that, but I heard that he played it because he was small and it was easier to get up here, and it was light, so it worked for him. That's what he mentioned. At least that's what I remember hearing. Thanks, guys. I appreciate those thumbs up. Keep them coming if you don't mind. I would love to see as many thumbs up as people here, but you can't please everyone. Plus, you get what you pay for. So let's go to the next topic. Something that's been, recently making spotlight, or in the spotlight, I should say, is the Boss, the PX1. There's been a lot of backlash on that pedal. We talked a little bit about it. A little like last week. We talked about that, how people, a lot of people were criticizing it for different reasons. I mentioned last week also that what I didn't like about it is the fact that it's a one pedal deal. So you have one pedal. You can swap what the pedal does, but you can't really, once it's on your pedal board, you can't really move the positioning of that pedal easily. So depending on what you're using it for and what effect you have in it at the time, it might not be in the right place on your pedal board. So it's almost like you have to use it for one specific thing, or maybe one or two specific things at most, but then it might not be as versatile as people thought it might be. So a lot of people have been bashing it. So So the rollout on that pedal launch has been a little bit of a rocky road. And Boss actually responded recently. They responded publicly to the criticism. So I admire, their willingness to innovate, to try and come up with something new. But you know how we are as musicians and guitarists. We want something new, but we don't want it to be different. We're very different. There's a fine line between something new, some novel technology, and what we like in terms of, traditional guitar gear. So I admire them for trying to innovate and trying to do something new, trying to get into, different worlds. But I feel like this attempt didn't quite land the way they expected it to land. So my question to you guys is, should Boss just stick with their more familiar pedal designs, traditional pedal designs? Or do you guys feel like they should still continue testing the waters, even if it means taking a risk? I'm always for new things. I like the ability to keep things moving forward as much as possible. But I think a lot of people didn't like, or maybe misunderstood, the fact that they're charging like $10 for what they call a model pass, which means that to get an additional model which they're going to put out later, you got to pay for it. So it's almost like it's behind a paywall. You got to pay extra to get more stuff. I think people don't really like that. It's kind of like a subscription model almost, and I think we're tired of subscriptions. We got to subscribe to everything today. They trickle out the updates and whatnot. So you almost have to pay to play kind of thing, which people don't like. And of course, support. Whenever somebody comes out with a digital solution, we don't know how long that's going to last. If you buy something that's analog, you have it forever until it breaks. If it's digital, you have to rely on the company putting out updates, making sure that they're still supporting it over time. And it also probably is more fragile because then there's, components, screens, micro components in there, more likely that things could break. A lot of these analog pedals, they just last forever because there's nothing too complicated inside, so they're, and in the past, just to be fair, the Boss pedals were always bulletproof. I've rarely seen a broken Boss pedal that completely doesn't work, except for maybe, knobs that are falling off or something like that if you kick them around a little bit too much. But generally, it takes a lot to break one of those. The new ones, I'm not sure. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. Have any of you bought one? Wayne says, it always makes me happy when I see my robo tuners in tuning action on my SG. That was another thing. That wasn't well received at the time. The robo tuners, I remember that. They kind of killed that pretty fast, Gibson did. It was out and they thought it was going to be cool and innovative, but people looked at that and they're like, I don't know, man. So I think a lot of those robo tuner style Gibson guitars were eventually converted over to regular tuners. And here again, this is exactly what I mean. A lot of times people just don't want to go. There's a certain line of comfort, and for tuners, I think people are just used to the old-fashioned stuff. Well, so it was a cool idea, but I think the demand or the comfort just wasn't there. Turd wants me to answer his question. I had to giggle with the name. Hey Tony, what do you think of set neck joints? Set neck joints? I don't have a problem with them. I've spoken about that in the past. To me, there's two types of neck joints. They're both good for their own reasons. The set necks, I mean, have been around forever. Acoustic guitars or electric guitars, early stuff. Till we started seeing Fender coming out with the bolt-on neck type design. I think they were mostly set neck joints. I think the set neck is fine as long as you don't have problems with it along the way. Because then if ever you need to do anything, they're very, very difficult to remove and to replace. So if that's, something that could happen down the line, it doesn't usually happen, but sometimes necks do get warped and whatnot. So it's a lot more easy to work with bolt-on necks. Just take them off, put a new one in, and you're running in a matter of minutes. The set neck, not so much. But a lot of people claim they're better because the vibrations go through the entire body, and I think if you're looking at that in terms of the feel and the resonance of a guitar, if you want to go beyond set necks, you go with the one-piece neck through body designs, where the neck is actually going through the body and the pickups are actually mounted over the same piece of wood that is the extension of the neck. That's probably even better. But it's not without their issues. There's no one universally better method. It's really a question of what you're looking for. So Dave says, haha, I'm trying to build a pedal board and I'm afraid of buying the wrong thing next. Steven says, yes, we like new ideas with familiar interfaces. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dave's thinking of the JHS Nauticlon. Dave, I'm not a fan of the Nauticlon. Just my 2 cents. I think there was a little bit too much hoopla around that pedal. You know what I mean? Lots of feathers, not much chicken type of thing. So a lot of people, I think, got sucked into that and bought that pedal. And some people do like it, but it's not on my radar. So if you do get it, you have my blessings. Let me know what you think of it if you do get it. Vox wants me to comment on what I think about the 2-in-1 type pedals. As a general rule, do they do both things well or do they lose something? It depends on what pedal you're talking about, Vox. It's there's so many pedals out there like that today. I can't really give you a general answer without knowing specifically which one you're talking about, because I've seen some that are very good and some that are not so good. Like 2-in-1 and nothing's really good out of the two. Sometimes a 2-in-1 pedal is like a compromise. You might like half of it and not the rest, and then you're stuck with it. But I've had experiences both ways where there was some that I felt didn't hit the mark, and other ones that I felt were really did a nice job. So it depends which pedal you're talking about here now. So David says, either make a cheap pedal that does the one effect at a time, or a more expensive pedal that can do the whole chain, in my opinion. Dude, we got so much choice today. So much choice. You can throw a rock and hit like 5 budget multi-effects units that do so much. We're spoiled, but it's good. It's a good time to be alive. David said, I have a 30-year-old Boss distortion overdrive pedal that still works great. I've seen many of those, David. So Mississippi Blue says, hi, Tony. I was looking at the Box PX, but decided to buy the Line 6 HX1 instead. So there you go. Mississippi Blues skipped over the Boss PX. One question I have regarding the Boss PX. Let's say you buy the Boss PX. We all know that in a few months it's going to be half the price on the used market. If you go forward and buy a whole bunch of the additional sounds that you paid an additional $10 for, let's say you have another 4 or 5 in there, are you going to be able to sell that pedal for more because you bought those sounds? Probably not. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be like, if I'm a buyer, it's going to be like, well, yeah, I want the pedal, but I don't necessarily want those sounds that you put in there. So why should I pay for those? Why would I pay extra for them if those are not the ones that I want? You know what I mean? So there's that to think about as well. Future resellability. I always keep that in mind whenever I buy something. You know, if I buy something and I don't think I could sell it for close to what I paid for it used, let's say, because I often buy stuff used because I don't like to pay the additional 40%. Let the next guy do that. If I can't recoup my money, I probably won't buy it. Dave says, Paul says, the West imports Asian guitars by price points. They get what they pay for. 99% of all Asian factories can make any quality. The big buyers get junk and knowingly okay it. This is a known fact, Paul. I agree with you 100% on that. You can make anything in Asia. You can make anything overseas. Some of the most amazing stuff in terms of technology comes from overseas. If we get junk here, it's because the person importing it is willing to only pay for that level of quality. Because if they wanted to, they can blow stuff out of the water over here. Because they have the technology to do it. And they have the manpower. And, you know, it is what it is. It's just that a lot of people don't want to pay a lot of money. So people that import stuff from Asia, they'll just buy cheap stuff so that they can still put their markup on it and keep it very, very low. But the quality is not great. But if you give them a mandate to build something, you know, if I tell them, here, take this guitar and copy it and give me the closest copy you can make out of it, they're going to copy it one for one, man. Maybe even make it better. Who knows? So Vinny says, well, let's go to Dave first. Dave says, one of my favorite pedals is a cheap Tom's Line roto engine. So you see, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. You can buy some very budget-friendly products and still be very happy with it. Vinny's World says, I can't find the need for a PX1. I prefer more versatile devices, and I don't mind complicated interfaces, i.e. multi-effects boards. I'm used to that too, Vinny. I mean, I've played with very complicated multi-effects units and, you know, many different types of budget multi-effects pedals. They're all kind of the same after a while, so you get to know how to use them pretty easily. So for me, I don't suffer like option paralysis as much as I used to, because I know more or less, you know, the different brands and stuff that I've used in the past all work really well. The thing that I find, and this is just me, if you buy a couple of multi-effects units or that type of pedal, oftentimes what's going to happen is you're going to find your core favorite patches and sounds that you like in there, but you will be enticed by other units because there's so many different sounds that are being offered in a small package that you can't help yourself but wonder what the next one's going to sound like. If it's going to sound like better, if it's going to be easier to use, if it's going to have, you know, a larger percentage of sounds that you like as opposed to the one you already have. So sometimes you might end up with 2 or 3 of these multi-effects units and they all sound good in different ways. So then you're like, okay, well, which one do I take today, and which one do I invest time in making sure all of the sounds are really the way you want them to be, because that's where most of the time goes, is tweaking the sounds once you have a unit. So that could be a big investment in time. And then when a new one comes out, do you want to do the same thing again? That's the question. Farid, hey, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. Tony, what do you think of coated strings? Pros and cons. I'm not a huge fan of coated strings, honestly. Why? Because A, they're more expensive most of the time. Um, I don't feel a need because I don't sweat that much. So I don't have a big problem with tarnishing the strings. Even if you do, you can easily just wipe down the strings once you're done and have the lifespan of those strings keep going for quite a while. Also, the strings that I have are just standard strings. I usually buy Ernie Ball strings, and the string that breaks all the time, like 90% of the time, is the high E string. So I buy a pack of high E strings, an extra pack, and have them ready. So I don't have to necessarily change all the strings. I'll just change the high E string in a pinch. But with coated strings, you can't really do that because they don't feel the same. You'll notice the difference. So, and I feel like with the coated strings, they kind of go dead quicker. After a while, they kind of feel a little bit rubbery. So I don't think, for me at least, that it's worth the extra money. My opinion, guys. Vox says, I've been enjoying my tone bender so much, I'm having trouble talking myself into turning it off. So Vox, is this the Behringer tone bender? I still didn't buy that. I know I had a strong urge to pick one up, but I didn't. Maybe I will still. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. If I do pick one up, it's going to be a spur of the moment thing, probably. But I'm glad to hear you like it, man. It's fun. It's a fun pedal to have and to play. Gives you that grit. Dave says, Tony Iommi plays some of the cheapest strings known to man. Which brand does he use, Dave? I don't even know which one he uses. Dave says, it would be fun to make a pedal board that's entirely Boss 2000 series pedals, drive, mod, delay, reverb. You know what? In my early days, when I was younger, that was my goal. At one point, I shared a picture with you guys here. I was in my parents' basement. I was playing my black Roadstar 2 Ibanez guitar. And I had the pedals that I owned at the time laid out, and they were all MXR pedals. There was probably 10 in a row in that picture. I remember as clearly as if it was yesterday. I had all of them. The big plug-in stereo chorus pedal, the flange, the distortion plus, the phaser as well. There was a whole bunch of them right there. And I liked the fact that they were all the same brand. And after I sold those pedals, which I shouldn't have, I should have hung on to a few of them because they went up in price dramatically. I had bought a few Boss pedals, and I liked the look of the Boss pedals. And at one time, if you guys remember, they had a rigid case for the Boss pedals that was kind of molded. And you could put, I think, eight pedals or maybe 6. I remember how many there were. But they were molded so you can just drop in the Boss pedals and just take that and carry that as your pedal board. And my goal was to fill that up. But it was a great marketing ploy because the footprint had to be a Boss pedal. You can put in other pedals if they fit in the footprint, but they would be loose in there. So it would encourage people to buy Boss. Gene says, I have both Nauticlon white and black. So Gene, tell us what you feel about that pedal, considering other people here want to buy the Nauta Dumble. Are you happy with it? If you have two, You must be happy with it. Dave wants to support JHS, local business. Always a good idea. Support local. So Vinny says, I get what you mean by the hoopla, but I think part of the charm was marketing, IKEA build process, and aesthetics. Yeah, for sure. I think it was a novel way to do something a little different. And, of course, Josh does have a big pull. He's almost like the Oprah of pedals. He mentions that a pedal is good and everybody goes bananas. You know what I mean? It's happened a couple of times already. He mentions, oh, this pedal is great, and boom, prices go up and you can't find them used anymore. And then after a month or so, everybody comes back to their senses and are like, well, this pedal's been available forever at such low prices. Why all of a sudden do I have to pay more? Danielle says, anyone try those metronome watch-like devices where you feel the pulse? Yeah, I've tried that, yes. I had a watch that did that. It's cool. It's maybe if you're a drummer, that'd be cool. It's good to have. I mean, if you want to practice with a metronome, why not? It probably will kill your battery life on your phone, on your watch, but yeah. I might end up getting another one. So it makes me consistently practice with a metronome. I'm trying to catch up on your chats here, guys, because there's been a lot of comments along the way. Vinny says, Tony, that's essentially how many Japanese guitar companies started out doing the copies. Yes, and they were very good. And people only realize later, because the beginning was Japanese stuff, not good, But a lot of the early Japanese Fenders became highly collectible because they were great. And I think people only realize after the fact. Mississippi says, hi, Tony. I started my latest Partcaster, a Candy Apple Red Strat heavy relic using a stencil bought off eBay. Is this something you've ever done? What do you mean by stencil? Are you talking about a stencil to do the relicing, like to show you where to relic the body? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, but I like Candy Apple Red. Love it. Dave says the genius in Brian May's guitar is that it has 36 soldering points and it doesn't short out on the regular. Yeah, that is a very odd guitar. It's not status quo. It's not something that you see often. Rick wants to know who saw Skynyrd last night. Not me. How was the show, Rick? Was it good? Satisfied? Vinny says, Tony, that investment in time regarding multi-effects units is being addicted to gear. It really is. It truly is, man. It's enough to drive you batty sometimes. Next topic I wanted to also bring up for you guys is Mooer, M-O-O-E-R, Mooer, has the GE 150 Max and Plus. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but they've updated their GE 150. So now there's the Max and Plus versions to confuse us even more. Apparently there's 80 amp models in this thing. There's over 200 effects, third-party IR support, and obviously the budget price that we've all come accustomed to with the Mooer stuff. So you can go a lot with these little units right now. I'm curious to see what it can do. Anybody look at this or consider this, or maybe consider getting one, or maybe already bought one? But they're definitely closing the gap regarding the more high-end stuff. So the high-end companies are going to have to like improve their game if they want to keep up, I think. He's got the drum machine in there as well and all kinds of goodies. There's like, the unit is not very big, right? So it's about this big, about something like that. It's got 8 switches on it, including the expression pedal. So you have everything you need. Small footprint touch screen also. Screen is not very big though. It's one of the drawbacks, you know, those smaller screens. But if you want to jam and play though, this could be a really good option for you guys. Best of all, it's like 213 bucks. 213 bucks is not a lot of money for everything that you're getting in it. As long as it sounds good. So another thing that's got my curiosity going, man, well, look, my birthday's coming up. My birthday's in October. So I got to think of something. I don't know what I should ask for in terms of gear, or if I should even ask for gear. Maybe I should ask for something else. Zarly says, hey, Tony, I purchased both the Nauticlon and Dumble. Both sound good. Can't complain. And building was easy. So there you go, guys. Heard it right from our fellow viewer here. Zarly says, thumbs up. Thanks for the feedback, man. I've built pedals before. There were, kit pedals. Not that bad to do. I've done the StewMac kit for the Klon that they have. They call it the Ghost Drive. And I built it in probably an hour and a half. Actually, had my son help me and had a lot of fun. David's asking for strings and picks for his birthday. Very cool. Well, if you're looking for picks, perhaps, David, this might be interesting for you. I don't know if you know this, but you can get customized picks now. There's a lot of companies that will provide custom picks, including Guitarists. So you can put your logo, you can put your name, your signature, you can put a graphic on there, you can make it full color. It's really fun. They're not inexpensive though, I have to say. But you can get like, if you're going to order picks, if it's for your birthday, go the extra mile, get something fun. I believe pricing on these picks, if you get I don't know how many you would get. I think you can get one color, single color, or you can get a full color custom guitar pick. So if you want single color, it's just a pick with a logo or something like that. And I think those are less expensive. I think those are $49. But I don't know how many you get. Let me see. I'm on the website now. So you have a choice of different types of plastics depending on what you like. So you can get like what they call black ice. You can get celluloid. You can get different shapes. You can get different colors. So the actual plastic white, you can get gray or black. And then you could put in your text. You can do one side or two sides. But I'm trying to see how many you get. Here we go. I found it. So one-sided, you can get 100 picks for $55. You can get 200 for $95, 400 for $167, 600 for $200, and 800 for $233. That's one-sided. If you want two-sided, you can get 100 for $82, all the way up to $331. That's a lot of picks. You got to make sure if you do order picks that you're ordering picks that you like. Because imagine having to, use 100 picks that at the end of the day, you don't like them. That's a lot of picks to lose. But I think that's a cool idea for a birthday present. Dave says, best present ever, the Kaysen pick from Didario. Let me see that. What is that? Oh yeah, $42, man. They sell that on Amazon. They sell it for $42. Man, I hope that's more than one. That's a lot of money. Must sound great. $25 maybe in the States, but it's like 42 here in Canada. Made of animal protein? You mean like bone? Something like that? I have a few of those picks. They're not the same brand, but I have a few of those made of animal horn. I guess that's what animal protein is, right? Probably use like horns. I got one right here. This one here. This is, you can see how it's made, and it's very thick. Animal horn. It's pretty cool. Feels really cool. I have a few others like that as well. I don't think it's tortoise that they use. I doubt it. I think it's probably horn. It's cool to at least try one. But I lose my pick so often that, man, I would have to drill a hole in it and put a little string on it so I can tie it to my pants or something like that. Otherwise, I'd lose it. Guaranteed. Hey, Steve and Joe, how's it going? Nice to see you, buddy. John says I have a cheap Rowan mini pedal called the Dumbler. I don't know if it sounds like a Dumble, but it's a fantastic sounding overdrive. I really like the new X Queen of Tone too. Yeah, I got one of those as well. I like it. So guys, I'm already over the 1 hour mark. I'll put it to a vote. Do you guys want me to continue a little while longer? Or do we wrap it up? Rex says he's thinking about a Rickenbacker 660-12 for my big 70 next year. Those Rickenbackers are something. My bass player, the guy that I've been playing with for a long time, just bought one. And I haven't seen it yet or heard it yet, but I'm sure he's going to bring it to the next rehearsal. Should be cool. Vox says, believe it or not, my wife bought me a couple of decorative wooden picks for Christmas. Not supposed to be used, but they sound fantastic on my Martin acoustic. I know which ones you're talking about, the timber tones. I have a set of those. They're all different types of woods. They're really nice looking picks, by the way. And they do sound good on acoustics. They definitely warm things up. David said, I tried the Jazz 3 extra large and loved them. I've been using those for a while too, David, because these ones are small. These are roughly the size of a Jazz 3, like the standard ones, but I find them small. They're good if you want to do the little squeals. You know what I'm talking about? And there's these. These are also the Jazz 3s. But the bigger Jazz 3s are comfortable for my hands. I don't have any here. All right, so you guys want me to go a little further? Sure, man. I always aim to please. Shane says, love seeing your face, Tony, but I gotta work in 5 hours, so good night. Don't worry, Shane. Get your beauty sleep, dude. So you're nice and fresh and ready to go tomorrow. I understand. Thank you for dropping by. Zarly says, up to you, Tony, but enjoying the discussion. Sure, man. I'll keep going for a little while longer. Hey, Mark, what's up? Hope everything's good on your end, buddy. Uh-oh. I spoke too soon. Mark says, I'm late, up all night with a barfing dog and a barfing kid. It was like a storm of barf. What's going on? How come they're both barfing? Did they both eat the same food? Is your son sharing his snacks with the dog? What's going on? Hope it's not serious. Nothing fun about barfing. Barfing kids, barfing wife, barfing yourself. Not fun. I sympathize with you, man. Especially in the middle of the night. I've had a few of those. Tony, any new to get... I can't speak. Tony, any new guitars on the radar? And have you sold any lately? And if so, how was it? Did it take longer to sell? Fairly quickly? As far as new guitars on the radar, I always keep looking. I don't have anything that's sparked my interest right now beyond the guitar that I mentioned earlier. Just out of curiosity. I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the show when I mentioned the Solo King, the MS series guitars. I'm curious about those just because they're not that expensive and they have some good specs. But I'm not like dying to get one. It would be cool to try one out. There may be another guitar coming my way shortly, but I don't know when, for a review. And I'll let you guys know as soon as it does arrive. But yeah, there's nothing crazy urgent on the horizon in terms of guitars. As far as did I sell any guitars? I did sell 2 guitars. I'm trying to get rid of the lower end guitars that I have lying around. There's quite a few of those and I don't really play them all that much. And although they're still good guitars, because I'm not spending much time with them, I figured let's give them to somebody who's going to be using them more than me. So I did recently sell a Harley Benton guitar that I had a while ago. It was the junior style Harley Benton guitar with the P90s on it. And I did upgrade it with better pickups. I changed the bridge on that guitar and I also painted it. Because originally it was white and I painted it in sort of like a candy apple red sparkle. So it was a cool guitar. I did put in a lot of time and effort into it. So a friend of my son was looking for a starter guitar. So I said, hey, you know, if you want a decent guitar, that would fit the bill. So I threw him the electric guitar and a starter acoustic guitar to get him going. Gave him a good deal, and I think he was happy. So he helped me out, clear out the closet a little bit, and he's got some fun guitars to play. So Mark says, I had a 3-hour gig Friday, 3 hours Saturday. Have some issues with my backup guitar. What's going on, Mark? What's going on with the guitar? David said, I hope I get little squeals on my birthday. Rick says, back to pedal boards. Does anyone have a that pedal show board? No. I have a few others. As you can see, there's 2 sitting right there. D. Smith, do you use a Focusrite or PreSonus combo for recording? I used to use a Focusrite. I ended up selling the Focusrite because I got my hands on a different unit, which is called the More U Hub, which has some features that the Focusrite didn't have, and it works just as good, and it's expandable. So I ended up selling the Focusrite and keeping the More U Hub. That's what I'm going through right now. It hasn't died yet, so I'm pretty happy with it. But I have used the Focusrite extensively for a while. But if any of you are looking at something to record, I do have a suggestion, because there is a brand new unit from Zoom called the Live Track. It's the L6 Max. I don't know if you guys have seen this already or not. It was launched just recently. But basically, it's a very small unit. It's a battery-powered digital mixer with 6 inputs. It has a few onboard effects, an SD card for recording as well, and you can do like Bluetooth streaming. On paper, I would say it's basically aimed towards live streamers or podcasters, or people doing acoustic busking or something like that, because it's battery powered. For me, like, something completely battery powered makes me a little nervous, unless I can plug in something that will give me like a hardwired power to it. But I think the goal of this product is basically to allow people to have some flexibility. I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about here, guys. So you can see it here. This is what it looks like. Not very big. You can see it looks like a board that you would be using. It's got a little screen here, touch controls, ins and outs, and I don't know if they give more information. So it's 32-bit, which is great, and you got 8-line inputs giving you 12 channels with full flexibility. And see, that's what it looks like right there. Negative 20 decibel pad switch, so you can handle loud sources, which is good. And as far as pricing goes on this, we're looking at what? $399. So I would have to look at that a little bit more in more detail. But it could be an interesting portable option as a digital mixer / recorder. I like the fact that you can put an SD card in there. So if you're trying to capture ideas with a band or something like that, you can bring it with you, just plug it all in. Going with being able to capture like 12 individual tracks is cool, especially if you're trying to record drums. Because just recording the drums, you need like quite a few mics to be able to do that if you're in a live scenario. So it's flexible. It seems cool. The only thing though is when I after going to computer and going completely digital, it's very hard to go back to an outboard unit, because it's so easy to edit on your computer. If you want to do loops, you want to do some editing, drop in punches and stuff like that, it's very, very, very easy to do on your computer. And of course, you have all the effects and all that cool stuff. So when you go to an outboard unit like that, I felt when I went to a different one, not this one, Zoom has the Zoom 8 and 16, I felt I was going backwards. I wasn't able to do stuff as quick. But I mean, the goal of it is not to be able to, do as much, I guess. It's just to be able to do it remotely or on the go, which is, I think, the scope of that particular unit. But I wanted to make that suggestion just in case you guys weren't aware that it's coming out. Good news, John Fogerty fans out there. I'm a big fan of Fogerty. I don't know if you guys are. It's hard not to be a fan of Fogerty. He's got so many great hits. But apparently he's doing a residency at Planet Hollywood in Vegas starting on New Year's Eve 2025. I'm going to happen to be in Vegas in February. I wonder if I'd be able to catch a show. So it's good to be able to see him still, rocking and going strong. He's getting old, but he's still doing it. I saw him twice, I think, if not 3 times already in the past. And all the shows were great, man. It was like one hit after another. Wasn't let down. And I went with invited friends that were not huge John Fogerty fans. And after the show, they're like, man, I didn't realize this guy had so many great songs. And it was like one after another after another. So if you're a fan and you happen to be in Vegas, maybe that's a show to put on your to-do list. Let's talk briefly about the poll question, because we did have a poll question this week. So I don't want to disappoint anybody. The poll question this week was regarding fretboard radius. So I don't know if you guys think about this when you're buying a guitar or not, or you just pick up a guitar, play it, and don't really care what the radius is as long as it feels good. But some of you out there are probably sticklers for this and are like, if it's not a 7.25 radius, I don't want it. If you're into that vintage feel. Or perhaps if you're, looking for a more modern style guitar, you want to go 12-inch or maybe 14, 16, depending on your playing style. So the question here was, what is your favorite fretboard radius to play on? And there was 165 votes. So let's go through the votes. And as per usual, we'll go with the most popular. Let's do it in reverse order today. We'll go in reverse order and we'll go with the least popular first. So the least popular this week, the answer is a 7.25. Only 8% want that radius, which I understand. It's a little awkward to play that kind of radius because although it does give you that vintage feel to your guitar, bending notes, a lot of times they'll fret out if you bend a little too aggressively. And not everybody likes that. And often when you're dealing with a neck with a 7.25 radius, the frets also tend to be a little bit thin, not as wide. So it's a very peculiar feel, and not everybody likes that. So I'm not surprised only 8% of you thought that was the one to go with. I guess if you're, vintage gearheads, you like the vintage stuff, you would aim for that. 2 on the list is 14 to 16. So really flat or more flat radius guitars was number 2 on the list. So not the most popular, but I believe that, a lot of these players today will opt for the middle ground. So 35% of you said, I like the 9.5 or the modern Fender radius. And 36% of you, so very close margin, said 10-inch to 12-inch. So Gibson or PRS comfort level, which I'm not surprised. I think I would fall into that category too. I don't necessarily want an uber flat fretboard. So 9.5, 10, 12, those are usually very popular. And then you have the, the ones where they'll start off at 9 and go to 10 or 12 as well. Those are popular choices. We did have some comments, so I'll read those. Says one of our viewers, 7.25 with vintage fret or medium, but perfect fret leveling. So they have to be, the frets have to be super level. Vinny says, TBH, it doesn't feel that different to me. Fretboard width and string spacing affects me a bit more. I think it's the whole enchilada there, Vinny. I think it's, the fret radius, fretboard width, string spacing, all that stuff really makes a guitar feel great, And Rico says, I chose the answer E, compound radius. Compound radius is a lot of people's favorite as well, because you have the best of both worlds. So, so I'll read the last two comments. I have enough guitars not to get used to one neck. Just talking board radius is not enough. How comfortable a radius is will change depending on what profile the neck is, how big the frets are. One spec is never important on its own. A good guitar always is the sum or more of the sum of all its individual parts. I agree with you 100% on that. It's not just one thing. Absolutely. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. I went overboard about half an hour, 26 minutes. I think that's enough for today. We'll save a little bit for next week. Just a reminder, guys, that on the 21st next week, I believe, yeah, we're going to have a special guest. So if you guys are interested in joining us for that special edition, we're going to be having a fellow that knows a lot about THU Overloud on the show. He's going to be here to answer some questions. We're going to be still geeking out on gear, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So please come and join us for that one. I think you guys are going to enjoy it quite a bit. In the meantime, thank you for joining me here today. I do appreciate you guys spending some time with me and listening to me and answering questions. Join us again next week, because we're going to still have a lot more to talk about. And please like on your way out. Give us a thumbs up if you can. I do appreciate that. And keep your eyes open for any new gear review videos that I post this week. That's it for today, guys. Stay safe. May music be your master. Enjoy playing your guitar. And see you soon. Take care, guys.